So have you ever wanted to work in 3D art or animation, or probably creating objects that look realistic, that you can actually maybe place on a website for e-commerce or something like that? Then a great software to use is Blender. www.blender.org slash download. The latest version as of the release of this video is version 5.0, released on November 18th, 2025. I've managed to download it and it's my first time using it, so let's go through it together. When you launch it, initially you get this kind of view. There's this first part here, it talks about importing Blender 4.5 preferences. Blender 4.5 is the version that I had previously. So if I wanted to import any settings, any add-ons that I was using in that on that Blender version, then this is what I'll click on. But for today's video, I want to make this clean as install of Blender as possible. So I'm not going to click on that. I've clicked on the screen and then I managed to lose the that splash screen that showed up. But if I wanted to get it back, so to view the splash screen again, what I do is press just while in this window, the viewport is what they call it. And you can know in the viewport by when you go to this selector here, you can see all the various options or windows that will be open. So while you're in the viewport, if you click F3 and then type in splash screen, and then you get it right there, and there it's back. So one of the things I forgot to do before I moved on from this splash screen was since I started using it back when it was Blender 2.79, by default, the right click was how you select objects. And I'm so used to doing that, so I'm just going to continue to use that method of selection. So instead of selecting using the left button like most programs or most applications allow you to, while I'm working with Blender, I've already gotten used to selecting with my right mouse button. So that's what I'll do. I'll go here and click the right. So then now when I select objects, I'll be using the right mouse button to do that. And the other settings, I'm fine with that. The theme is dark, language is English, so I could just save as new preferences. So when I'm done with that, then now I get the option to look at this new splash screen, which is what now will be opening every time I open Blender or default file. This is how it opens on default. If I select 2D animation, then instead I get something like this, where I can now start in 2D when it's already set up, just the way a 2D artist would need it to be set up in order for them to get right to the work they need to do, instead of having to the system. It's still a viewport, but in order for you to, I mean, the options in here are different. So because it's a 2D workspace, we could go back to F3, splash screen again, see what other options we have. Sculpting, there's also a default sculpting. Save, don't save, and we'll move on to sculpting. So what you see is what you get. So you can easily go to whatever setting, whatever default screen you need to be at, depending on what the purpose of you opening Blender. As you can see, it's very versatile. There's very many tools that are available with it. It's actually just many. You can say it's many softwares in one. So there's quite a lot you can do with Blender that you can do with a lot of other software that's out there. Okay, we can go back to the splash screen again and see what other options we could get. Storyboarding, that's also an option, or you could create storyboards for people who do for example, if you're doing an animation, whether it's 3D or 2D, you still need a storyboard to explain the shots, the program or the video that you're creating. What other options do we have? On the splash screen, we have also VFX, uh, because I've written there. So you have your visual effects here. I'm not too familiar with this option. So then next we have video editing, which is also another very popular option I use. I'm converting my frames of any animations that I've created into video. This is a very useful tool or setting to jump into, which where you now place the frames of the video that you need to create. Check on what resolution that you want the video to be, how many frames per second you need to be. You can get all the way from 6 frames a second to 240 and beyond. Okay, you have to select what where you want the output of that file to be. If you want that file to be video, actually this is really nice because before the file types were same as the frame types by default, but now at least they've selected video as a default. So this actually saves us from doing a whole lot of adjusting before starting up with video editing, sequencing. And yeah, one option that I normally use a lot that I select is H264 for MP4, and I find that this creates the correct kind of type of video that can be viewed on any device, or most devices anyway. Okay, so that's just the intro on the various options that you have when you when you're initially launching Blender.